Waterwight Book 1, Chapter 32. This is from Celeste's point of view. Time to come in now, dear. Breakfast is ready. It's about time you came back. Celeste's mother called to her from the seaweed-covered doorway down the hall. It's your favorite, the man by her side added. Come give Daddy a hug. Celeste stood transfixed by the sight of her parents. They had disappeared into a fissure years earlier, yet here they were, acting as if it were just another ordinary day. But, no buts, come and eat before it gets cold. Her mother turned and retreated beyond the doorway. Celeste could hear her humming a tune. It sounded like the melody she remembered while flying across the water. But wait a minute, she thought. People don't fly. I can't fly. Why do I remember flying? Her head felt fuzzy. Ranger ran to her, tugged on her pant hem, and romped back to the kitchen doorway. Celeste followed, slowly at first, but when she saw her father's outstretched arms, she ran to him. Before reaching him, she lost her footing on the slippery kelp and sprawled across it, sliding to her father's feet. That's my girl. Come on now, you'll get used to the new carpet soon. He pulled her up and swung her around in his arms and into the kitchen. She laughed until she cried, No more! I'm dizzy. Where's my hug? Her mother put down a spatula dripping with bacon grease from a sizzling pan filled with the delectable strips. Fearing she was in a dream, Celeste refused to let go, deciding instead to savor the moment until harsh reality woke her. But her mother was insistent, and Celeste had a decision to make. If she let go of her father, she might never return to this perfect moment. If she didn't, she'd miss out on the gentle embrace of the woman who always smelled like honey lemon muffins and love. Give your mother a hug, little Klingon. Her father set her down, releasing her. With one hand still on her father's arm, she reached for her mother, determined not to break whatever force was allowing the moment. Only when her mother's arms were around her did she let go of her father. Well, you're certainly acting silly today. Her mother squeezed and released her. Set the table now, would you, dear? This is it, thought Celeste when her mother let go. I'm going to wake up now. When nothing changed, she giggled, and her parents giggled along with her. She set the table as if it were truly just a normal day in her life and tossed her heavy backpack into the corner. But why wouldn't it be a normal day? She wondered why the thought had even crossed her mind. The bacon was juicy and delicious, and she ate until she felt full. Ranger hopped into her lap after her last bite and licked the grease from her chin. Another delicious breakfast. Her father rose, kissed his wife on the cheek, and took his plate to the sink. Off to work I go. See you for dinner, beautiful girls. Celeste's mother blushed and blew him a kiss. We're having lobster tonight. Don't be late, honey. Wouldn't think of it. He disappeared through the strands of slippery green seaweed. Ouch! Celeste grabbed her stomach when she lost sight of her father. What's wrong, dear? I don't know, just something weird in my stomach, like a hard squeeze. It's gone now, but it hurt. Probably just a little tummy ache. Her mother patted her arm. You ate too fast. Help me clean up, dear, and you can go back out to play. It's a beautiful day. When will Dad be back? Celeste wanted to run after her father. For dinner, silly girl, just like every day. Now come on. The two worked side by side until an unsettled feeling washed over Celeste again. A heaviness pressed down on her, and she thought she might faint. but she couldn't remember where her bedroom was. I need to rest. She clung to her mother unsteadily. I really don't feel well. How could she tell her mother she didn't know where her own bedroom was? Oh dear, come along. I hope you're not coming down with something. Her mother wrapped an arm around her. Celeste walked with her mother down another passage with a long, steep slide at the end. Bordering one side of the kelp slide was a sandy stairway. Her mother sat beside her at the top, and the two slid down to a landing near a solitary room. Whee! Her mother shouted on the way down the slide. I wish I had a room like this when I was your age. The slide was wonderful, but Celeste was troubled by her mother's childlike action, and by the realization she couldn't exactly remember how old she was. For some strange reason, she considered herself to be a teenager, but in actuality, and based on the way her parents were treating her, she felt more like 10, or maybe 6. Who cares? She finally decided. She was just happy to be home. On the outside wall at the bottom of the slide, she recognized the scrawl of her own handwriting. My room, it said, and beyond another seaweed door, a room like none she'd ever seen, with a bed fit for a princess in the center. In place of sandy walls, an enormous filmy bubble undulated, its swirling rainbow colors casting a hypnotic aura around the room. Her mother helped her across the expansive room to a bed, another bubble filled with warm water, and pulled a soft, mossy blanket around her. Mom? Celeste wondered how to ask the question. Her mom tilted her head to the side expectantly. Did something bad happen? I feel like something bad happened, and this is all just a dream. Oh dear, you do need to get some rest. Nothing bad ever happens here. Sleep until lunch, okay? I'll check in on you. If you need me, just blow this whistle. Her mother handed her a tiny tortella. The spiraled seashell felt smooth and cool in her hand, and she blew into it half-heartedly as a test. Its trill made her smile. She tucked it beneath her bubble pillow and watched her mother leave the room. Great shadows interrupted the play of rainbows around her, and when she focused her eyes beyond the translucent surroundings, she could see colossal creatures moving through the peculiar pinkish liquid. Frightened and fascinated, she watched them without moving a muscle. She didn't want them to see her. Wouldn't want to be your dinner, she whispered, trying not to imagine what might happen if one of the creatures decided to burst through the beautiful barrier between them. The thought of being someone's dinner plagued her briefly. It was as if she'd experienced the feeling before. Pulling the mossy blanket over her face, she let her body roll lightly with the movement of her bed until her eyes grew heavy. She could hear her mother humming a familiar tune in the distance. Or was it her mother humming? She didn't care. She hummed along with the tune, smiling when the laughter of a little child mingled with the melody. That ends chapter 32 of book 1.